Hello. Okay, no. I don't know how to do this. I've not done it in like 10 years. Hello, fellow Hytale gamers. I don't know why I went with that intro, but it's been like 3 minutes and I haven't figured out what to say. In this video, I'm going to teach you how to get this guy or your respective avatar into Blockbench, because I know a lot of people like to have one for thumbnails or renders. I specifically use it for renders, which is quite nice. Currently it's a bit of a long process, and I probably am not doing it the correct way, but it works for me. So the first step is, if you're on Windows, you're going to do the Windows R to bring up this little run thing to %app data %, and then make your way to the Hytale folder, then install, release, package, game, latest, and you'll see this assets zip folder. What you'll want to do is move over this common folder to wherever you want to save it. This is basically where all of the assets for Hytale is, and it's quite handy because they're all Blockbench like supported anyway, which is pretty neat. So to get to like your character, you just go into common. Once you've exported, like unzipped the file, then go to character, and you'll want to do player, not player with face, because you can add the face separately. And that's just like where you find, as you can see, this is where you find like just the base player model. You'll see that it's grayscale at the moment. We'll find a way to fix that eventually. Oh, I should probably do like how to find your Hytale skin. Yeah. So there's a few ways to do it. If you want to just base like where you find everything off of just this little character in Hytale, you can do that. However, there is a file which gives you exactly like all the information with the character. So you'll want to do Windows run %app data Hytale, and then you'll go into user data, and then cached player skins, and there's this .json file. I'd recommend you open it in something like Notepad++. But once you open it, you'll see this long line of what looks like code. This is basically a life hack of everything that your character has. So if I just make this a little bit easier to see, you can see that all of these lines are everything that makes up your character. So we've got underwear, funny, face, ears, mouth, haircut, facial hair, etc., etc. This is basically your cheat sheet for what you are going to use. Now we'll go back to the Blockbench file with player. Don't worry that everything's in grayscale at the moment. The first and easiest step is literally just to add all of the cosmetics to your character. So if we reference this JSON file, you'll see I use face makeup freckles. To get to that, like to add anything, you literally just click this little cowboy hat in Blockbench. It's called import attachment, and you'll make your way to body attachments and faces, and just click on this blocky model file of player face detached. That will add a broken texture, it seems at first, but if you just select on the side the drop down for player face detached and press the plus button, you can then make your way over to body attachments, faces detached, textures, and all of them are here. I think I found that makeup face 5 is the one with freckles that I use. So you just click on that, click open, and click it onto there. And you can see it's in the right place, it's where it should be, which is very useful. And you just do this with all of the body parts. So haircuts is here. I know that I have the morning one, so just go to morning and open. This one looks broken, but again, the drop down, you just click the drop down and go to morning grayscale if you're using this one. So if the text is broken, you'll probably see it here, or you'll have to add it, but it's pretty easy to find. It's in the same place as usual. And then, so I'm just going to add these two for now. For ears, if you find that in body attachments and ears, there's only elf ears small and ears 1. These are the normal ears. These are the small elf ears, as it says. For some reason, all the other type of ears are back in common, then cosmetics and head. I don't know why, but you can see here we've got elf ear large down, elf ear large up. So I use elf ear large down, and it's done the thing with the texture again. So we'll just move over to head, and then find it elf ear large grayscale. And you can see that has done exactly what it needs to do. So all of your main body features, let's say, are in body attachments. So you got eyes, faces, as you've seen, mouths, ears, beards. However, if you want to, like, if you've finished adding all that and want to move on to the clothes that you're wearing, this is where you'll go back to common and to cosmetics, and this has everything from shirts, jackets, gloves, face accessories like glasses, which are very useful for me because I can't see. So I just use these round glasses. I think they're pretty neat. I'm not going to add everything in this video just because I don't want it to be like 3 hours long. It doesn't actually take that long, but so I'll just add a shirt and trousers just to be a bit more decent. So we go to common, cosmetics. Undertops is where you just find shirts. So I know I have a t-shirt, and then there's all the textures. I've got the cat one because I like cats. And then we'll go into common, cosmetics, underwears. Nope, that's just underwear. Pants. And I think I've done pants asymmetrical because I've got the mossy ones. So we'll just see mossy trousers. There we go. Wonderful. And just for the sake of being able to see, I will put eyes. So this is basically a bog standard character. But again, none of the textures are working. There's a couple of ways to do this. One is kind of like just a quick workaround, which you can do in Blockbench. However, I personally don't go for this one. And then the other's a bit more complicated. You require like Photoshop or maybe Paint.net if it has that ability or affinity. The way to do colours that aren't quite accurate within Blockbench is you would go to like whatever thing you want to recolor. I'll do the hair, right click it and enable layers, and then I'll just create an empty layer. So the way that I did this when I was figuring all of this out is in your layer 2, just choose whatever color you want. I know that I've used brown here, so we'll just go to like a dark brown, and you'd fill the top layer just in brown. Obviously you can see it looks rubbish. If you just hide that and then use the select tool on select color and just select like the background, the transparent background from the bottom layer, and go back up to the top one and simply just erase it. That's basically like a clipping mask, but a really long way of doing it. And I'll just deselect that. And then on layer 2, you'll set the blend mode to either screen or color. As you can see, and as I said, it's not the best. It honestly looks a bit rubbish, to be honest, but it gets you by. You can also, of course, go into each color respectively and like use the paint bucket on colors and literally like manually fill everything, but that's just a pain to do. So the way that you actually do it is back in the assets common folder, we've got this folder at the bottom called tint gradients. The way that Hytale does their color texturing is obviously it has this grayscale for anything that is colorable, and they use a thing called gradient maps. And in this tint gradients, there's absolutely every color that you'd ever need. So in hair, you can see so many hair types. And if you reference back to your little cheat sheet, you can see over in haircut, it says the name of the haircut. So if you can't find the file, you can just look for morning, because that's the name of it. And then after it, it says the color, which is brown semi-dark. You're looking tint gradients hair for brown semi-dark, so here it is. And I've not found a quicker way to do this, but if you open that gradient in Photoshop, because you're going to need Photoshop for this next step, I've literally just been going to the gradient tool, making it the size of the gradient and color picking. So I think, yeah, this is brown semi-dark that I made earlier, little blue Peter moment. And I just added steps. So you just click on, I'll start on a basic one. You'll just click on the color at one end, color pick it, click on the color at the other end, color pick it again, and you can see there's more red here. So if you right click, you can add another point to it and just add as many points as you want to get however accurate you want it. And then you can add this gradient as brown semi-dark or whatever it was called. And I've been putting mine in a little folder, which is quite useful. So then to apply that gradient mask, you'll go to you'll go back to Blockbench, right click the texture you want to change, and if you save it as, and just save it anywhere on your desktop or in a Hytale folder. I'll put mine in the Hytale video and Hytale assets. No, just Hytale video. So I've called this, this isn't going to be the grayscale one, it's going to be brown. Save that to your desktop, wherever you want to save it. And then if you open this in Photoshop and wait for it to load, you really simple, you just click down here on adjustment layer, click gradient map, and you'll see whatever gradient you have selected, it messes it up. But once you click on the gradient, and go to wherever you saved it and click on that, click OK, you can see that's pretty much perfect. Like if you want to tweak anything or customize the gradient, you can, but this should be game accurate. And then what I do is just merge these layers, save it, so it saves straight back into Hytale video or wherever you want to save it. And then you can just drag and drop and change file. Nope, don't do that. What am I doing? I'm gonna lose my job. I had a few technical difficulties there. For some reason, it doesn't actually update the texture. So to apply the new texture, just enable layers and add, like import the texture as a new layer, and it will work hopefully perfectly fine. Then for things like skin tones, if we go into tint gradients again and go to skin tones, you can see they're all numbered. It seems unhelpful, but it's actually really easy. You just refer back to your cheat sheet and it says at the top, body characteristics default 15. So that number dictates the gradient that your skin tone is, or whatever your skin tone you set. So this is what I've used. So if I just bring this back into Photoshop, and I've made the gradient mask already. So if I do gradient map and choose skin 15, click OK, you can see that's worked perfectly. So we'll merge those, save it, and look at that. I'll be honest, I just found a really quick way of doing it, so that's good. And then you basically just work your way down your list. So elf ears, they would be the skin tone. So right click, edit externally, it will load up Photoshop again. Gradient map, skin tone 15, merge layers, save, close, and that's updated straight away. And I will just do it for the base player skin. You can also change it to the muscular one if you're inclined to work out. I'm not, so I just use the normal one. Right click, edit externally, gradient map, skin 15, merge, save, close. That is basically how you do it. For things like this shirt, there are parts of it which aren't actually coloured. So you do pretty much the same thing of edit externally and adding your gradient map. This one I usually have as white, but for the sake of the video, I will put it as, let's put it as cotton yellow. You can see this cat texture isn't actually meant to be affected by the gradient map. So if you go to the mask on it and invert it with Control-I, I then select the things that aren't meant to be coloured. There's probably a quicker way of doing this, but I don't do that. And we'll select here. And then you just paint this in the opposite colour, so that'll be white. And it looks like it's all messed up, but just invert the layer again, and you've got yourself a yellow shirt. And close that, and you can see it's updated straight away. And that is basically how you get everything you need for your character in Blockbench, and then you can go to animate and add a new animation if you want to pose it, and just go to like head and you can rotate it here, or shoulder to rotate the arms, and then in shoulder you've got forearm where you can rotate the forearm as well. So yeah, I hope you found this tutorial useful. I've not made a video in about 10 years, so this was probably quite incoherent, but if you have any questions, feel free to comment or message me on Discord, which I'll put in the description. And yeah, have a lovely day. How would I start a video? Oh my gosh, there's flipping frogs. Wait a second.
Man, I love frogs.
Are these frogs?
No.
Frogs. I reckon that's a good start for a video.
Yeah.
I like to do a blooper thing. Right, here we go.